Hello, welcome to the House of the Spirit. Welcome home. This reading today is going to be a special reading, special equinox reading. And we will be looking at your equinox to solstice cycle. So this is a timeless reading. So whenever you find it, it's the closest equinox and the closest solstice for you. In this case, we're going to look at the next trimester, so from September to December. Okay, so pile number 1, we have Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Your card is the Boar. For pile number 2, we have Libra, Pisces, and Cancer. Your card is the Cat. Pile number 3, we have Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. Your card is the Bear. Pile number 4, you have Aries, Gemini, and Sagittarius. Your card is the Water Dragon. Okay, beautiful. I will give you a moment for you to choose your pile using the card, the tarot deck, the zodiac signs, or just your intuition. I will see you in your reading. Pile number 1, your card is the Boar. The Boar is about the warrior spirit, leadership, being brave enough to tread where no one else has, to discover new pathways, to fight if necessary. It's a really beautiful card. This deck is the pictures are amazing, and whenever I look at them, I get sucked into the picture immediately. And I think that there's something here for you that is related to the specific pathway. Because if you look at this card, you see it here's like a dirt road, but it's kind of yellowish, and then it turns into a white pathway. We're not sure if it's going to turn left or right here, because he's coming from a different pathway that's actually filled with, I don't know, maybe leaves or dry, like forest floor. It seems like there's something here about that, like the path to choose, the path you choose, the type of path, what's in that path, like the characteristics. Okay. So let's start with, okay, so I'm going to put 3 rows, and in each row we're going to see one cycle. So it's like the 3 months, and in each one of them we're going to explore. We're going to start with the fairies, and we're going to explore. I'm going to leave it a little bit open in each one of the rows, like how many cards or what types of cards. I think I'm going to just go with the flow, but start with the 3. We're going to start with 3 months. Okay, we have the feline, Mick the Myomancer, and collective of pixies. Interesting. Okay, I think I'm going to cover the names so we can see the picture, or maybe I'm wondering if you can, yeah, maybe like that, so you can read all the names. So now I'm going to get you a rune. Okay, so we have the T was, which is also about leadership, courage, warrior spirit. That's so interesting. It's quite the confirmation. So I guess that this solstice cycle is going to be quite demanding of you. But you're going to have help, especially towards the end of the cycle. So, resourcefulness. Interesting. So because I was talking about that, about the help you're getting, collective of pixies, I'm going to leave that there. But you also have, so the feline, let's see. What is the feline about? Sun in Sagittarius with enthusiasm. What about Mikdamayomancer? Sun in Gemini with versatility. Interesting. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that and get the tarot for now, and then we will wrap up in the end with the different oracle. Let's see. Okay. Knight of Vessels with Eel. Four of Bows with Celebration. Five of Vessels with Ecstasy. Oh, sorry about that. Maybe like this. You know, the feline is looking at you in a very judgmental way. But I get this strange feeling that he's actually very helpful. Let me think about it for a moment. I feel like it's something about participating in a ritual. But there's something mysterious about it. Like there's something about the connection to the other people involved, or there's something about the spirit that connects you that's quite mysterious. So, yeah, there's something about this feline that's quite helpful, but there's also something that you need to let go. So in the first month after the equinox, or following the equinox, the first cycle, you will have to let something go, or someone go. And I feel like there's also like a sort of a celebration. Maybe it's some sort of trip that the person is taking, or the change in life. There's something changing, like changing, moving, yeah, or life-changing, something life-changing for someone. And I feel like you're part of it, and you're in the circle. You're in, I visualize this, like you're in this circle, and it's kind of ritualistic. it seems like it's a family meeting, or it's a family dinner, or it's just friends, like a friend party, some kind of like, but I feel like it's something that you're used to doing. So what's interesting here is like, I feel like there's someone there that's going to remind you of something that you forgot. So that's why I feel like this feline is actually helpful, although he's looking a little bit judgmental and like he wants to teach us a lesson for forgetting him, or for forgetting something that's important that you should have done. Like, yeah, you should have done that. Remember, I know you're missing that one piece. But at the same time, because you have enthusiasm, it feels like there's a lot of energy that's positive in this cycle, this specific cycle. It feels like the people around you are also quite helpful. I don't feel like you have to block any energies or to protect yourself. It feels helpful, it feels nice. But I feel like someone in that circle is going to change their life, is going to move, or is going to change jobs. They're going to through some sort of life-changing event. And it feels like everything is coming together at the same time, or everyone is coming together. We'll get into more detail in a moment. Let's see the next one. Knight of Arrows with Hawk. This is the same look. I always connect these two. I feel like I've seen them before together, and the look is so similar to me, which is interesting. So maybe this is the continuation of that same energy, of that moment, like when that person tells you, but you forgot this. Are you doing that? Or are you still going to address this situation? Something like that. So in the second month, second cycle, you will get this, a continuation of that. And I feel like you're so much more vigilant, and you are aware. You're now aware of what you want to do, of what you have to do, and you're also going to adapt to that, and maybe even exchange information and investigate or talk about it. I feel like there's growth there also with this versatility. There's some sort of discovery. But it's also something that requires a bit of patience. So maybe that's why you weren't really into it, because I feel like I wouldn't say possessed, because this is a very strong word, but I feel like you're really incorporating this spirit of the boar, of the wild warrior that chooses their own path, that leads others, that leads themselves. That's their own person. It's very self-reliant, but at the same time also helping others, because you're trailblazing, you're opening the path, you're clearing the path so that it's easier for others. The tip of the spear, like the Tiwaz. Sorry. Two of bows with decision. Seven of bows with clearance. So clearing the path. You see how the path becomes. So I feel like now I understand this transition. So first the path is full of leaves and twigs and forest floor, and then it becomes a bit clearer. It's a dirt trail, and then it's almost white. So it's almost like it's paved. It becomes easier with time. It becomes easier to tread that path. So I feel like this person who is reminding you of something that you should have done, or you forgot, or that you're kind of putting in the back burner. This is a piece of information that's really helpful, so that you clear that path and that you pave it, and that you start to, going back and forth and creating that connection, even that in your brain. I saw a video of a girl that was making the analogy between clearing neural pathways in the brain, so that we create new routines and habits and a stronger, healthier brain and psyche, and the creation of pathways in a meadow. It's in a meadow that she is in, and there's tall grass growing, and we tend to want to tread the routine, right? We tend to repeat the same path over and over, and our brains are also wired that way. So we create very strong connections between the neurons as we use them. So the more you use this connection, the easier it gets. That's interesting. I feel like what I said now is also related to a person. So it's the more you communicate with this person, the easier it gets and the better it gets. I feel like there's a person here, like a specific person that is bringing you information that's important to you, so that you are leading the way towards your destiny, towards the thing that you want. Wow, 10 of arrows with instruction. So I feel this feels like teaching. A collective of pixies, resourcefulness. I feel like you have the resources to help others. That's what I was saying. You're a leader. So you're opening the path for others. And I feel like in December, so 3 months from now, whenever you're watching this reading, excuse me, you're going to be able to pass down knowledge. Maybe you're going to become a teacher, a mentor, a leader. 8 of arrows with struggle. 2, we have 2. 2 of arrows with injustice, and 5 of stones with endurance. I also feel like this cycle here is also about a preparation, a wise preparation for a challenge. A challenging period, a challenging time, a challenging transition. We'll get into that in a moment. Five of bows with empowerment. 10 of bows with responsibility. 10 of stones with home. Okay. So it feels like you're pushing your ambition to the limit. That's what I'm seeing here. And you're going to see that limit because you are going to push so hard. And this is very typical of the boar spirit, like going full power, full force, right into whatever battle. It can be a battle, it can be a beautiful meadow. I've seen boars swimming. They're really adventurous and they're kind of fearless in a way. They're really strong-willed creatures. So I feel like they just go and that spirit is going to make you see the limits. And although it feels like it's a contradiction, because it feels like you're arriving at a negative state of mind, because you're now shown that you can't go on, but it's actually a really positive thing, because you have arrived at the limit for now. It's the limit for now. And that's a part of your growth. It's a part of you finding out how to carry your knowledge, how to bring it to the world, and how to share. But it's like you're trailblazing, and because of that, you're building something at the same time. So the whole purpose of this adventure is to build something that will last. It's a home, it's a building, it's a structure, it's a place where you're protected and where everything that you value is protected. It's the place where you feel safe and where you can put your things and you can enjoy and you can rest, you can share meals with friends, you can feel at home and family. I feel like you're also maybe bringing people together in a specific place. I keep seeing like circles of people and people coming together, like having dinner, sharing ideas and conversation and life experiences. And I feel like one person is going to click in you. Something that person says is going to click. And it's going to help you tremendously, although it will put you on a path that needs a bit of patience. And it's interesting because, so this is the second cycle from now. It feels like in the middle you're going to be patient. You have to be patient so that you see the results. Because it's like the path is being cleared, but it's being cleared in steps, small steps, and like you have to pay attention to the details as you're clearing your way through. And I also feel like in the last cycle, you're going to be aware of the scope of your ambition. I think that you're going to be made aware of that, because you're going to also see other people's will and other people's needs clash with your own. And I don't think they're the same people. I see a lot of people, actually. People coming together and then a different group coming together in another place. So I feel like you're like part of a lot of social circles. In this time period, you're going to meet different people who have very different purposes in life and that have different life experiences. And somewhere along the way, you're going to clash with a group or with a spirit, a will, an institution, I don't know, something like that. It can be something that's very institutional, because you have this character here that looks like justice, but it's actually injustice. So it's not seeing, it seems like it's blocked somehow from continuing. And then with the 5 of stones, 5 of pentacles, and the 10 of bows, it seems like there's a bit of a hurdle or a wall or clashing wills. That's what I see here also with the 5 of bows. Like going a bit against the wall. Like, okay, now this is a very big building and I can't push any longer. I am the boar and I want to... I am imbued by the spirit of the Tiwas courage, warrior spirit. I'm really enthusiastic, but the resources you have are enough to go up until a certain point. And after that, it can become like burnout. It can become too heavy, a burden that is too heavy to bear alone. It can feel like it's not enough with the Five of Pentacles, like you don't have enough resources. You also have the Eight of Arrows here with the struggle. So there's some kind of interruption in this energy here of that path that was being cleared. But I feel like if you try to see it from a perspective of, okay, now I understand this limit and now I can work with it, I can build with it. It's like, I don't know if you have this saying in English actually, but we have this saying that goes like this: stones in my path, I gather them all, and one day I will build a castle with them. So all the hurdles in your path are going to become the stepping stones, and the material, the raw material that you use to build, you will use it to build your home. So although the energy now is a bit like go, 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 I want to open this new pathway, I'm going to discover new ways to do things, I want to fight for something, maybe also. It's a very powerful, driven spirit, and it's amazing for leadership. But that's also why, because you're the tip of the spear, you're the first to hit the wall. So it's a good thing. It's the sign that you are arriving first. But it's a bit painful, like it's a bit annoying, it can be discouraging. And I feel like this reading comes to you so that you're not discouraged, so that you are actually quite the opposite. You're aware that you're just getting there first, and it's easier for other people to just go through a cleared path, right? But for the first person, it's going to feel hard. But behind you, there are a lot of people that really want you to succeed. I feel like you have like human resources. And when I say that, it's not, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you have a team that you're managing. So that's possible. But you also have supportive people, and they want you to succeed. They want you to teach them. They want you to lead. So very inspiring. Beautiful. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I am now also available for personal readings. So if you want one, just send me an email. You will find it below. And I hope to see you again very soon. Bye. Pile number 2, your card is the cat. And sorry for the noise. Sorry, that was a really noisy motorcycle. So the cat, it's about the sensual world and the spirit world. Being able to walk between both, to be in that liminal space. It's a kind of a duality, but at the same time it's not. So it's a bit of a paradoxical energy. It's about being in the middle. It's about learning how to travel between both seamlessly and reconciling those two ways of being, modes of consciousness, really seamlessly. And I feel like there's something else about the cat today for you. But I will get you a rune first so that I explore this a bit further. So you have the Fehu rune. And Fehu is about prosperity, success. It's about good fortune, and specifically in material abundance, related to material abundance. But because we're also talking about sensuality, I don't know. I feel like there's something else that wants to come out about the cat, that explores a specific characteristic of the cat. Not only the spiritual aspect and being kind of a liminal creature in between worlds, able to see spirits, but how you integrate that into your material abundance, into your work life, into your body even, because we're talking about also being very in touch with your body and how I would even say your ego presents itself and works for you as a kind of a vessel for your psyche and for your higher self. Okay, so let's go for the three months, or cycles as I like to call them, that come between the equinox and the solstice whenever you're watching. We have the topsy-turvets, Penelope, Dreamweaver. Let's see if we can fit them all. And Mickle a Muckle. Okay. So let's see. For each one of these, we have Jupiter in Capricorn with control. Sun in Gemini with versatility. Also came out in the same position in pile number 1. That's interesting. Okay. And Mercury in Scorpio with extremism. So I was talking about polarities and in between worlds and going in between, being in between. Two things. So extremism is sometimes seen as something that's on a spectrum. So if it's a line, there are two extremes of that line, that single line. And then you have Mickle a Muckle. And Mickle a Muckle, it's like almost like the names of that extreme. So if you see like a seesaw, Mickle a Muckle. It looks like a play on words, right? To be playful between these two extremes. Because Mickle a Muckle is about being childish, being playful, being relaxed, and seeing things like from the eyes of a child. Okay, we'll get there. So, okay. 4 of Staves. Princess of Swords. And the Prince of Pentacles. Okay. Ten of Staves, Four of Cups, and Strength with Oya. Princess of Pentacles, oh, Princess of Staves. There are a lot of people here. It feels like a lot of people. Not only your energy, other people are going to be important. Nine of Swords. Okay. Six of Swords. Three of Swords. Two of Swords. Okay, so it feels like this reading is is for someone who really needs it. So I know it's kind of general what I'm saying, because if you're here, you're watching it, you need it in a way, but it feels like this reading is going to be quite essential for some of you, for maybe for one specific person. I don't know. It feels like there's some sort of urgency or great importance in this specific moment for you. And I got this feeling, and it was hard for me at first to understand how to explain this, but it feels like it's a transformation that is very needed, and maybe this reading is somehow helpful to put words into what's happening, onto what's happening. I don't know how to explain this, because it feels like there's this sort of limbo or undefined state, and this paradoxical situation. It can't really, it doesn't provide movement, it doesn't provide evolution or progress. So it feels like it's not oppressive. It's not a limitation. It's more like, it's not exactly fog. I was trying to characterize like undefined, something that is undefined, something that is so unknown that is hard to explain. So it's murky. It feels like it's something that it's a bit scary in a way, because it's too mysterious, something that is too mysterious, something that is too hidden. And I feel like what is good in this situation is to define it, put words, to understand its boundaries, to make it visible or make it into something material, something that you can touch, that you can see, that you can sense. But anyway, going into the specifics, this is more like the general feeling that I got. Into the specifics, I get that these 3 cycles, 3 months that are coming, are going to be very different from each other. It feels like they're almost disconnected in a way, like going in like bursts, and moving forward and moving backward, and then turning and spinning and going to that side and then to this side. It looks like it's not disorienting. It's more than that. It's undefined. That's what I'm sensing. It's like I can't put this into categories. I can't really understand what is happening. So I feel like you're going to have to be like go back to basics, to go back to the drawing board on something, to understand it from the beginning to the end, to make it into a coherent story with a beginning, a middle, and an end for you. And so in the first cycle, it starts as something that is more known, but there's a hint of something that's changing. So there's already a hint that something is going to be quite different from what you're used to, or that you are discovering something either about a person or about a situation that is going to surprise you. And it can be something written, it can be a photograph, it can be something that you watch, I don't know, in a movie, in the news, a friend tells you. It seems like there's this hint, like a clue that you explore and that you think, okay, I'm in my safe environment, but I want to explore that. And once you do that, it seems like it's like you open this like Pandora's box suddenly, and then the adventure begins. I feel like you're going to have an experience, or you're going to access knowledge that's going to surprise you, that's going to be a window into the occult, maybe a window into, or a way to dissipate the fog, a way to define something. You're going to finally have words for that object, or for that characteristic, for that person, I don't know, for that situation. There's something like a discovery here. And in the second month, it seems like it's going to be more integrated into your psyche. And it's going to be a culmination of a lot of psychic, it's like a lot of psychic energy is going to suddenly burst through. It's like, oh my God, if this is true, then this and this and this and this is completely different from what I thought. This is not what I want, or this is exactly what I want. You're going to have this kind of earth-shaking moment. Like you're going to discover a new territory in your mind and in your spirit and in the world. Like you're going to see a new reality. And that, I feel, is going to create a bit of an upheaval in your life. It's going to show you things that are going to make you realize that maybe some experiences from the past weren't quite as positive, or that you are now looking at the future with a lot of uncertainty and doubt. You're questioning yourself, you're questioning reality. But the advice here from Spirit is that you keep that playful, flexible attitude, and that you don't feel tempted to see things only in black and white. Because what I'm hearing is that that's not how things are made. That's not how things are made, or why things are as they are. Although it's tempting, and you know that the extremes exist, you know that, you are going to be quite aware of how they work, of what they are, of the energy they hold, the potential energy, because the extremes, it's like the polarities in a battery. That's what creates energy. It's the polarity. So we know that creates immense energy, immense drive, immense will, right? The extremes create will. They create willpower. They create dynamic, right? But there's more to it, and that's not how things are made. That's what I'm listening to. It's like, that's not how you build things. That's not how you do things. That's how you generate energy, but it's not how you do things. It's a bit paradoxical. I said in the beginning of the reading that this was going to be a bit paradoxical. That's the cat's energy also. Because they're like, I really like you, I want to cuddle, and then they just run away, or they scratch you, and then they don't like you, and then they hate you, and then they love you, and they're kind of like, they're not all like this, of course, but I was, when I was young, I was a bit afraid of cats because I thought that they were so unpredictable, and especially compared to dogs. Dogs are very much more predictable creatures, I think, because I grew up with dogs, so maybe I'm more used to them. But I love cats, and I've lived with cats, and I've been around cats also. But they're kind of like that, like, in a sense, they're kind of like egotistical, but in a good way. Like they stand up for their own energy. They're there for themselves. And that's also something that is coming through in this reading, because this is also a part of your growth here. So because there's the spiritual and then there's the material world, and this like story of polarities that's here, and this dynamic, it creates this tension, and I feel like this tension is going to have some sort of a shake-up in your life. The tension between spiritual and material. And as you try to balance those, as you try to navigate that energy or use it, I think that you're going to have this lesson, this life lesson about how things are made, especially in the material, because you have Fehu. Maybe how to create prosperity, how to create abundance, material abundance. But also something much more deeper, much deeper than that, much more also emotional in a way. How you connect those dots, the spiritual and the material. Let me just clarify one thing here about this transition. So where are you going? Where are you heading with this Six of Swords? Seven of Cups, dispelling illusion. So maybe your conception of the material world and the spiritual world and how they oppose each other, or how they work with each other sometimes, is going to change. And that's going to be kind of revolutionary for your psyche and for your being. It's the dispelling of illusions. It seems like it's a bit painful because there are concepts that are falling away, they're falling apart. And I feel like they're not only falling apart for you. This can be a collective thing. And it's like the force of nature just comes and washes something away. And everybody sees like, okay, that house wasn't well built. We can't use that technique anymore. We have to change this way of creating things. It's a powerful, powerful life force, natural force also, that's going to show you specifically how things are made or how things should be made if you want them to reflect the spirit and to reflect truth also. And Two of Swords here. I think that this might also have something to do with your faith, your specific spiritual path. There's something quite earth-shattering that's going to happen for you, that's going to show you, to reveal something to you about that. It can be a collective revelation, but it's also very personal to you. It's something that you take very personally and that you want to address in your intimacy, in your heart space, in your mind, your psyche. It's very personal. It reframes your experience. It changes the way you look at your painful experiences, at other people's painful experiences also. It's going to be a bit of a revolution for you, especially in heart matters. I feel like this is, because you have the Three of Swords here, I feel like this is going to be personal. And maybe you have someone in mind, someone particular in mind that represents some sort of an ideal or an idea or a concept, even a spiritual one, like a teacher, a guru, a leader. And there's something about that that's going to be shaken. And the advice here is to keep a certain innocence and also even a certain like egotistical approach, but in a good way. So the ego is also protective. It's a sort of a protection, a vessel for our psyche. It protects us from external forces, and it creates a kind of a stability, a coherence. So if you need to do things for you and to take care of you in spite of the well-being or not of other people, in spite of whatever's happening around you, this is maybe a good time to do it and to not feel guilty for doing that, for choosing to take care of yourself. Because that's also a way of engaging with the divine and engaging with I'm trying to find the right word, like when you pray, it's a sort of a devotion. Yeah, it's like a devotional practice, because we always see devotion as something like I devote myself to something else. But sometimes we also have to be there for ourselves, and you shouldn't feel guilty for doing that. And no one else should also want to make you feel guilty for doing that. That's like the wisdom of the cat. Like, okay, no, I'm fine here. I want to be here. This is very comfortable. No, I want to go away. Now I'm comfortable over there. And if you're offended by that, I'm sorry, I'm gone. That's a bit like how I see cats. They're really interesting, but they're so connected to spirit, and they're healing. They're super sensitive. They show affection, they are loving, but they're also able to really detach themselves suddenly. And it's interesting how they change, from one mode of being to another, how quick it is, how flexible they are and how they can successfully navigate those two extremes. Interesting. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm also available for personal readings at the moment. Just send me an email. You will find it below. And I hope to see you again very soon. Bye. Pile number 3. Your card is the bear. And the bear in Gaelic is spelled Art, which is related to King Arthur. And that's also a part of that connection between the divine powers, or the cosmic divine powers, here represented by the Big Dipper, and the carnal powers, the bodily, material world, and the king, the crowned one, being that representation between, like it being a mediator between the divine powers, the powers of God, bestowed by God, and the earthly powers. So, let's see what else there's for you in this equinox, from solstice to equinox. Okay, so you have the Urus rune. And the Urus is related to strength, tenacity, perseverance. That's interesting. So I'm going to make 3 rows, one for each month or cycle that goes from equinox to solstice. So let's see. What do we have? Beautiful. The fairy godmother. The soul shrinker. And ecstasis. Let's see if we can fit all the cards. Maybe like that. Okay. So, 1 oracle card for each row or more. Let's see. Okay, 2, 3. Are these all the 3 or just, yeah, these are all the 3. Okay. Sun in Libra with harmony. Jupiter in Sagittarius with principle. Saturn in Virgo with isolation. That's very interesting. Okay. So I'm going to choose a few tarot cards for each one of the rows, and then some extra for the overall energy. Knight of Swords. Eight of Pentacles. The Hanged Man. Eight of Wands. Eight of Swords. Wow, this is a lot. Let's see. Six of Pentacles. The Magician. And the Four of Pentacles. That's so interesting. This seems to be about material resources. It seems like in the first month, from the equinox forward, it's going to be a little bit more stagnant in that regard, but you're working at something. You're working at something, but you're waiting for something also. And then in the second month, I feel like two different things are happening here. They're very different. And there's a negative energy here. Soul Shrinker is really heavy. And it's almost like something good is turned against you, or someone turns something positive against you. Why is that? This person has a specific influence. They have a specific role to play in your life. But their influence is not always positive. And here it's really dark. Let's see the rest. What's the story here? Page of Swords. King of Swords. Five of Pentacles. Okay. King of Wands. Two of Swords. The Chariot. So it feels like this cycle is very much conditioned, or it's like the main premise here in this story is your will, whatever you want to do. And I feel like in the first month, you will have the opportunity to interact with energies that are very beneficial to you and that can help you build your skills so much. They can help you enhance a lot of what you already know. I feel like there's a learning experience here. There's a deepening of the understanding of something, and there are also like very beneficial energies around you, like people that want to give you things, that want to share things with you. There are clues there. I feel like it's very serendipitous with the fairy godmother. You're going to have clues of what is good for you. What are the people who are the people who want to be good for you, even in the future, like build things together or create relationships. There's a lot of loving energy. But then in the second month, there's a very different energy here. And it can be self-sabotage. That's possible. And if that's so, if that's the case, there might be a moment when it kind of exorcism is a little bit of a strong word, but it's kind of a dispelling of negativity that needs to happen, or that you're going to manifest that. You're going to realize that you have to create something. And it's like, no, I have to do something else. And I think you're going to realize that you're either investing in the wrong thing, or that you're not able to do things in a specific way. But there's also another energy here that's interfering. They're interfering. But it feels like you're overcoming that, whatever it can be, whatever it is, because you're adhering to your values, and to good values, to solid values, to the right, focusing on creating the right conditions for something to emerge. For goodness, for a project, for something beneficial. It can be in terms of health, like creating a healthier you, creating a healthier routine, or a good life, creating a good life. But also material abundance, because I feel like there's a genuine connection here between the higher values, so the cosmic being, and the material, carnal existence. That's the bare spirit. And I feel like that's what is for you. That's what's going for you, is that beautiful harmony between spirit and matter. And then in the third month, there's something interesting here. And it feels like, you see how she's covering her ears? Like, I don't want to listen. I don't want to hear that. It scares me. She looks like she's scared. And this is a very different approach to the Five of Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles usually is related to not having resources, or not seeing where they are. But she's actually like covering her vulnerable self, and trying to protect, to shield herself from something that she perceives as harmful. And it seems to me like someone might come after you, or someone might come at you. And they might touch on something tender. They might say something that hurts you, or something that you don't want to listen to, something that you don't want to know. Okay, just let me see. The world. Okay. Sorry for that. The Lovers. The world and the Lovers. So at this time, third month, you're going to choose something different. Or you're going to choose not to listen to something or to a person. I think you have your own ideas. You have your own spirits, fairies. You have your own motivations. You have your own vision, the way you see things, the way you want to do things. And you're going to choose not to listen to someone and to do things in a specific way. I'm not sure if you're already aware of what that way is right now. I feel like you're going to discover it later on, especially because you'll see something strange or something that bothers you, or you listen to something that bothers you, because Soul Shrinker is also about the words that are spoken, the types of words, the energy behind the words, it's not a pleasant energy. It's something, or it's a spirit that wants to shrink the soul. It wants your energy to be less, okay? To be smaller. Maybe it's because it's more manageable. Maybe it's because they don't understand. Or they don't want to understand. I see something interfering, okay? In the second month, something interferes, but then you're fine, because you create something of your own. You're creating something that's yours, and you're choosing something good, something that's of high value for you, that something that's very precious, something that you consider, that you want to treasure, that you want to protect, something that you want to be safe from harm. You want that thing, that project, that idea to be safe from harm. So I feel like there's a choice here. In this time period for you, there's a choice. That choice has to do with how you embody your authority, that is based on the connection between the divine, the cosmic powers, how you draw them to yourself, and your material existence, the material expression of that cosmic inspiration. And right in that center is your will. And there's a moment, like a pivotal moment here of decision. I feel like it's going to be in the second month of this cycle that starts in the equinox. And it's going to, I feel like it's also going to make something transparent. I don't know if this makes sense. It's going to make something clear, crystal clear. It's going to define something. It becomes so crisp. But it's also isolating. You have isolation here, but I don't feel like it's a bad thing, because you have the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is really having fun. This King of Wands is so confident and at ease. He also has the Cancer symbol on his crown, which is interesting. And he's kind of drunk. He looks at you like smirking, and he's kind of winking also. It's a very confident person, very at ease with himself. So it doesn't feel like it's dramatic or it's negative, this isolation here. It really feels like just defining something, especially with the Virgo energy, like things being very well characterized or labeled, like this corresponds to that thing, this corresponds to that thing. Very organized, very having a scheme of things, like a very well kept storage of things, of priorities, of ideas. It can be of things, it can be organizing things also. That's interesting. I feel like you can also be organizing things, very complex systems or a lot of stuff, decluttering. But I feel like I want to know more, just a bit more about this soul shrinker here. Knight of Wands. So, in strength, it feels like this. It's a bit of a test, this energy. It's a test to your will. It's someone who tempts you or who wants you to trip. They want you to do things differently or to do things their way or to limit your scope so that you're more manageable. And I feel like they will want to twist something. They will want to interfere. And it's going to be sudden. It's going to be something that surprises you, but you're going to stand your ground. This reading might also help you kind of anticipate that kind of energy. But you're still like playing your game according to your rules. You just have to keep that energy in mind and to know that you're going to have the tenacity. You have to have that tenacity and that power and that strength to hold the line, to hold strong, to stay strong, to keep things crisp and clear and well-defined and organized in your mind. Don't let someone like confuse you, say harsh words that confuse you or that take away that power, that confidence and hope and faith in yourself, in others, in the future, in what is true, what you consider true and divine in the cosmic sense. Beautiful. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm also available for personal readings at the moment. You can find my email below. And I hope to see you again very soon. Bye. Pile number 4. Your card is the Water Dragon. Water Dragon. I feel like it's going to be a reading about relationships. I don't know why, I just got it immediately, instantly when I saw this card. Something about connection, deep connection, passionate, very, very emotional. So deep emotions, emotions that run deep. Okay, let's get you a rune for this cycle between the solstice, between the equinox and the solstice. Okay. So this is Le Goose. Interesting, right? Because this is about water. Wow. Water intuition, healing, mysteries, the subconscious. This is actually the best rune for the water dragon. It almost seems like his neck, like the water dragon, twisting his neck. That's so powerful. So this can also be about spiritual connection, because it's very, very profound. Let's see, how is this impacting these three? So I'm making 3 rows, 1 for each month, each cycle between the equinox and the next solstice. Penelope, Dreamweaver, I guess you're going to have dreams about it. Or you're already dreaming. Maybe it's a person. You're dreaming about a person? The singer of intuition, look at that. This is something to do with your psychic powers also. I feel like I'm talking to people who are very well versed in using their psychic powers, maybe even like astral projection. And the Lady of the Harvest. So I feel like you're going to, if you're exploring your subconscious, if you're exploring your dream landscape, your dreamscape, and if you're kind of a psychonaut of sorts, I feel like you're going to see the results, the cumulative results of your experiences so far. And it's going to be very apparent by the 3rd month of this cycle, of this equinox and solstice period or season. It's the season. You're maybe watching this when it comes out, so it's the autumn season, but I'm making this video so you can watch it anytime. It's a timeless reading, so if you're watching near the nearest equinox up until the next solstice, that's the period that I'm focusing on. Sun in Gemini, versatility. Did this card come out in almost all of the piles? I think so. It's very interesting. Sun in Leo with fortune. Moon in Aries with protection. So let's get the tarot. Page of Wands. Seven of Swords. And Six of Cups. Okay, is this focused? Not so much. Okay. Ten of Cups, the Devil, the Hanged Man, the Star. Wow, these two came together. King of Pentacles, Five of Cups. Okay. The Sun. And the World. Wow. What an ending. Overall energy here. Six of Pentacles. Okay. So this is definitely about relationships. I feel like for some of you this might not resonate, but it's okay. That's fine. So this is about a deep connection with someone. And the way you connect is also reflected in dreams or in your meditations. There's something about like your astral body, the way you connect in spirit, really. So there's this very deep connection with someone. And I feel like this connection has a big challenge coming up. And I'm not sure if it's going to survive this. I don't know what it is. It can be some sort of limitation. It can be an addiction. It can be a pathological pattern, a behavior, something that's very trying, that's very testing. And I don't know who it can be. It can be the relationship itself that's a bit too intense, or there's something pathological that needs to be addressed, that's going to be addressed. So in the first part, the first month, it seems to me like there's a lot to be discovered that's not yet revealed, but there's a kind of a passionate sharing. There's dreaming of pleasure, of idealizing a little bit the relationship, but it's all based on very deep, genuine feelings and a very deep connection, spiritual connection, something that you see very clearly because you're very psychic and you're very connected already. So by the third month, there might be the need to release, the need to let go. But what's interesting here is that I feel like it's not over yet. And I don't want to mislead. So this has to fit your situation, because when I say it's not over yet, it seems like there's a part of this situation that is about you being generous and also having faith in the generosity of the other person. So if you're forgiving, or if you're understanding of something, and if you're wise about it, if it doesn't hurt you, I feel like you might want to reconsider when you if you decide to end things, or if you see an ending in things, if you see like there's no way, this can't work, or this is not working, or it's also possible that you don't see it working, like I can't see it working, this is unmanageable, or there's no way, there's no hope for this. I feel like there is. And there's a window here that is opening my vision into another realm of possibilities. And because it's the dragon, the water dragon, and the Lagoose, it's something mysterious. It's like there's a mysterious solution to this. There's even magical. Magic can turn this into something precious. So maybe it's not exactly your vision of perfection, your vision of the perfect relationship or the perfect person, but something beautiful can be done with this connection. Maybe it will turn into a beautiful friendship, or maybe it will grow and you will evolve together and it will still be a beautiful romantic relationship. I don't know. I think that there's a very a spiritual aspect to this that's very hard to explain, because it's going to be very specific to your path together. I feel like nothing is really set in stone here. It's so fluid, it's so magical and mysterious. It will work mysteriously. So mysteriously, things will work out. And when you think that it's all over, it's actually not. It's maybe only the beginning of something else, something even better, because you have the sun in the world, and it's a great positive ending and beginning. So it's like it's even better than the picture in your mind. It turns out to be even better if you decide to be generous with the relationship or with the situation. And I'm not saying that you have to like forgive toxic behavior. There's nothing that you should accept if it's pathological, if it's hurting you physically, psychologically. This is not the case. This is something that has some sort of issue. There's an issue here with the devil. But I feel like this issue is also a great opportunity with the Hanged Man to sacrifice the right things. So it's like an opportunity to offer life. Something to offer the divine, actually. To offer to the divine something that you can sacrifice or make sacred, instead of how do I say this? It's like, I will not include this in my life anymore. I will give it to Spirit, because that way it doesn't matter if it's mine or if it's yours or if it's someone else. It's for Spirit. It's something that's not for a specific person. It's a gift to Spirit. And because you give it space, and because you give it time, you give it love, it's generous to you, because it shows you ways and solutions that you weren't seeing or that weren't even possible. That's also interesting here, because I feel like you're kind of really like a psychonaut, because you're going to be able to see solutions and like tunnels, ways of doing things that are truly secret, and they're occult, they are mysterious, they're unseen. They're not normal. People aren't able to see this, and I don't know what normal is, but this is kind of it's relative, okay? So most people in your life will not be able to see this way of doing things. It's very original. It's maybe unique. It's hard to think of something that only happens once, but it's kind of like a miracle. That would be considered a miracle. Maybe that's what happens in the end. But that miracle happens because you offer something to spirit, because you sacrifice something to spirit. Maybe it's a way of being, maybe it's a word. Like when I say that word, things go awry and people react in a bad way, or I won't say that word anymore, or I won't use that, I don't know, I won't use that tool because it hurts people. There's something like that. Like I'll be generous. I will refrain from doing things that hurt other people, and it becomes an offering, like a sacrifice to spirit, and it will be rewarded handsomely with a beautiful person that comes into your life, that starts something new with you. And I feel like it can be the same person. But now I'm thinking like it can be another person, because you end things with a toxic relationship. That would be the more common thing that would happen. But whatever happens, it feels like it's a miracle. But that miracle is actually rooted in an offering that you made, in a decision that you made to sacrifice something that you know isn't good. Like you don't want that in your life anymore. Although you might be used to it, although it might be a part of your routine, it might be a part of like habits in a specific relationship. Like you can have the habit of calling someone a specific name, or to use a specific word that you know is hurtful to that person when you're angry or something like that. And this is just an example. It can be something smaller, but it makes all the difference. It really does. And because it's the meaning behind it. It's the meaning and the intention that you put behind the sacrifice and the offering. And I feel like it opens the way for miracles to happen in your life, specifically related to romantic relationships and what your picture of love is. Because you are a person, the type of person who can really connect very deeply and very affectionately. There's like a very nourishing love that you can share, that you want to share. And that deep feeling, that deep emotion that's very rich and abundant is also a part of that offering, of that honoring spirit. And I feel like that generosity, that way of loving that you have, that's very natural to you. I feel like it's intuitive to you. It's also going to be rewarded, let's say. But only after you make a sacrifice. I don't know if I can give another example, but it really does seem like it's something connected to an unhealthy habit, or it can be something small. Sometimes the devil is in the details, right? It's in the very small things, and sometimes it hides. It's very cunning. It hides behind small gestures, just short sentences, ways of saying things. So a very small detail like that can hide a lot of maybe anger, maybe resentment. Maybe there's something there like in the subconscious. And because you're the type of person that can access that really easily, once it becomes clear to you, once you're aware of that, miracles can happen because there's so much power there. There's so much connection. You're so connected to other people, to spirit. I picture you as someone who has like waterfalls and wide rivers, and you're like soaking in all that water. You're fine being in that hyper connected state of being. You want that connection, you desire that connection, that love. But it can also bring some kind of a behavior that you're not maybe completely aware of. And that is connected to that all-encompassing love and to that all-encompassing connection. And I feel like it's interesting that this specific connection it triggers your perception of the connection with all. That's so strange. So I feel like I'm talking to someone who has a connection with another person. And that connection is very special because it really transcends the ego. It really transcends the character traits, the personality. It transcends that. There's something really deep there. And it's very important that you honor that also. Especially when you are thinking of this offering, or of this sacrifice in the sense of making sacred, turning something sacred. Okay, this is very abstract. I hope that it helps. Thank you so much for this. If you also enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm also available for personal readings at the moment. You can find the email below. And I hope to see you again very soon. Bye.